Part 1. The alarm screens lit up red across every coalition station in the sector. Something was coming out of the void rift, and it was moving fast. Too fast. Commander Velthon of the Krell species stared at the impossible readings on his display. Nothing could travel at that speed. Nothing should be able to leave the void rift at all. Identify that vessel, Velthon ordered. His voice was calm, but his 3 hearts beat faster than normal. The technician's hands shook as he worked the controls. Sir, the signature matches. It matches the UHSS Resilience. Velthon's skin turned a darker shade of blue. The Resilience. The human ship that vanished 12 years ago. The ship that every species in the Coalition had forgotten about or tried to forget. Humans were supposed to be weak, simple creatures. They mined asteroids and did the dirty work no one else wanted. They didn't come back from the void rift. Impossible, Velthon said. That ship is dead. Everyone on board is dead. The signature is exact, sir. It's the Resilience. Velthon activated the fleet-wide channel. All ships, battle stations. We have an unidentified vessel approaching at extreme velocity. Prepare to intercept. 300 Coalition warships powered up their weapons. They formed a wall of steel and energy between the approaching ship and the inner systems. Velthon had fought in 17 wars. He knew how to handle threats. Whatever was coming, his fleet would stop it. The ship emerged from sensor shadow. Velthon's breath caught in his throat. It was the Resilience, but it looked nothing like the simple exploration vessel that had disappeared. The hull shimmered with patterns that hurt to look at. Parts of the ship seemed to exist in 2 places at once. Energy pulsed across its surface in colors that had no names. Target that ship, Velthon commanded. Fire warning shots across its bow. The weapons officer hesitated. Sir, our targeting systems can't lock on. The ship keeps shifting. Manual targeting then. Fire. 20 warships unleashed their weapons. Streams of plasma and particle beams shot toward the Resilience. Velthon watched the weapons close in. They would miss, he somehow knew. And he was right. Every shot dissolved into nothing meters before reaching the hull. The energy just disappeared as if space itself was swallowing it. A voice crackled over all communication channels. Every ship in the sector heard it. Every station. Every planet. This is Commander De Huang of the UHSS Resilience. We're coming home. Do not interfere. Velthon felt something he hadn't felt in decades. Fear. Real, cold fear. The Resilience didn't slow down. It didn't change course. It simply passed through the Coalition fleet like they weren't there. Velthon's ships tried to follow, but they couldn't match that speed. In seconds, the human vessel was gone, heading straight for Earth. On Earth, Ambassador Nari Cho sat in her small office in the human district of the Galactic Forum building. She was reading reports when her assistant burst through the door without knocking. Ambassador, you need to see this. The Resilience is back. Nari dropped the tablet she was holding. What did you say? The Resilience. It just came through the void rift. It's heading here. Nari's mind raced. The Resilience. De Huang's ship. Her friend's ship. She had cried at his memorial service 12 years ago. She had comforted the families who lost their loved ones. And now they were back. How? She activated her secure communication line. Get me Earth Command. Now. Within minutes, she was in a video conference with the leaders of Earth's government. Admiral Taman Song's weathered face filled her screen. You've seen the news, Taman said. It wasn't a question. What do we know? Nari asked. Nothing yet. The ship will reach Earth orbit in 4 hours. The Coalition is demanding answers we don't have. What do they want us to do? Taman's expression hardened. They want us to stop the Resilience. They're calling it a threat to galactic security. Nari laughed, but there was no humor in it. How are we supposed to stop a ship that just flew through 300 Coalition warships like they were toys? We're not, Taman said. We're going to welcome them home. Whatever happened out there, they're still human. They're still our people. Nari nodded. I'll handle the Coalition. You handle our people. And Taman, have someone contact the families. They deserve to know before the media circus starts. The next 3 hours passed in chaos. The galactic news networks went wild with speculation. Some said the Resilience was controlled by hostile aliens. Others claimed it was a Coalition weapon test gone wrong. A few suggested it was a ghost ship, crewed by the dead. On Earth, crowds gathered in the streets. Families of the Resilience crew rushed to spaceports hoping for news. The old memorial site in Seoul became packed with people holding candles and pictures of their lost loved ones. In space, Admiral Tae-min Song ordered Earth's small defense fleet to stand down. They were no match for the Resilience anyway, and he wouldn't fire on human ships. Instead, he broadcast a message on all frequencies. UHSS Resilience, this is Earth Command. You are cleared to enter orbit. Welcome home. The response came immediately. Tae Hwang's voice, older and tired, but unmistakably him. Thank you, Admiral. It's good to hear a friendly voice. We have a lot to tell you. The Resilience entered Earth's orbit. Half the planet watched on their screens as the impossible ship hung in space above their homeworld. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Belthon arrived at Earth within an hour, bringing a full escort of coalition warships. He demanded an immediate meeting with the Resilience crew and Earth's government. Nari wanted to refuse, but she knew that would make things worse. The meeting was arranged in a secure facility in Geneva. Commander Tae Hwang agreed to attend, along with 2 of his senior officers. Nari insisted on being present. Belthon brought 5 coalition officials, all from different species. When Tae Hwang walked into the room, Nari barely recognized him. He had aged, but not like a normal person would in 12 years. His eyes held something ancient and knowing. The woman beside him, Chief Engineer Yuna Kang, had the same look. So did the man on his other side, Dr. Hyun Park. Commander Hwang, Nari said carefully. It's good to see you alive. Tae smiled, and for a moment he looked like his old self. It's good to be back, Nari, though I'm not sure everyone shares that feeling. Belthon stepped forward. Where have you been? What happened to your ship? What technology are you using? Tae turned to face the coalition leader. We have a lot to explain. But first, you need to understand something. Everything you know about the galaxy is wrong. Everything you believe about your own history is a lie. Belthon's skin darkened. Choose your next words carefully, human. We found the architects, Tae said quietly. We found their installation. We learned the truth about where you came from. All of you, the room went silent. Everyone knew the legends of the architects, the mythical first civilization. But no one had ever found proof they existed. Yuna Kang stepped forward and placed a small device on the table. This is a data core containing everything we learned. Video records, files, proof. You'll want to see it. But I warn you, you won't like what you find. What kind of proof? One of the coalition officials asked. Dr. Hyun Park spoke for the first time. His voice was soft but clear. Proof that you were created, designed, limited on purpose. The architects made you to be controllable, predictable. They gave you just enough technology to build a civilization, but not enough to ever threaten them. And humans? Belthon demanded. What about humans? Tae met his eyes. We're different. We weren't part of their plan. We evolved naturally. That's why they never contacted Earth. That's why you've always been afraid of us, even if you didn't know why. Belthon's hand moved toward his weapon. This is outrageous. I demand you surrender your ship and all its technology for coalition inspection. No, Tae said simply. You refuse a direct order from the coalition? Nari stepped between them. The Resilience is a human vessel. The coalition has no authority over it. Then Earth will face sanctions, Belthon said. Your people will suffer. Tae's expression didn't change. You can try. But I suggest you watch that data core first. Learn what we learned. Then decide if you really want to make humans your enemy. Belthon grabbed the device from the table and stormed out, his escorts following. The other coalition officials looked uncertain but followed their leader. When they were alone, Nari turned to Tae. What did you really find out there? Tae sat down heavily. The truth. And it's going to change everything. The galaxy isn't going to be the same after this, Nari. The coalition will fight us. They have to. If what we know becomes public, their entire power structure collapses. Are we ready for that fight? Nari asked. Yuna Kang smiled. They're not ready for us. That's what matters. How long until they come for us? Taemin asked. Tae looked out the window at the stars. Soon, very soon. But we didn't come back just to hide. We came back to change things. For humans. For everyone. Nari felt hope and fear mix in her chest. After 50 years of being treated as lesser beings, humanity finally had real power. But power brought responsibility and enemies. Then we'd better get ready, she said. Because when they come, they'll come with everything they have. Tae nodded. Let them come. We didn't survive the architect's tests just to bow to the coalition. It's time humans stood up. And this time, we're not backing down. Part 2. The data core sat on the table in the Coalition Council chamber like a bomb waiting to explode. Velthon had watched the contents 3 times now. Each time his anger grew hotter. Each time the truth became harder to deny. The recordings showed everything. Ancient facilities filled with technology beyond imagination. Genetic blueprints of every Coalition species. Manufacturing logs showing how the architects had seeded primitive worlds with modified DNA. Instructions for limiting intelligence, creativity and advancement in the created species, the Krell, the Vex, the Thorians. Every member of the Coalition had been designed like machines, built to serve purposes they no longer remembered, given just enough capability to build civilizations but not enough to ever threaten their creators. This must be human forgery, one of the council members said. They've created this to divide us. Velthon shook his head slowly. I had our best scientists examine the data. It's real. Every piece of it. The genetic evidence alone is undeniable. We are not natural. And the humans? Another voice asked. Natural evolution, Velthon said, the words tasting bitter. Unmodified, unlimited, everything we're not. The council chamber filled with angry voices. Some demanded war with humanity. Others suggested surrendering to reality. A few went silent, too shocked to speak. On Earth, Dai Huang stood in front of Earth's United Assembly. Behind him, a large screen showed images from the architect's installation. Hundreds of human leaders watched in amazement and horror. We were pulled into the Void Rift 12 years ago, Dai explained. Our time. Inside the facility, we experienced it differently. For us, it was 12 years of fighting to survive and learning everything we could. He clicked to the next image. A massive chamber filled with crystalline structures. This was the Curator, an artificial intelligence left behind to maintain the facility and test any species that found it. Most species never make it that far. The facility is designed to kill unprepared visitors. Yuna Kang stood up. We lost 43 crew members in the first month. The facility tested us constantly. Combat scenarios, puzzles that required creative thinking, moral choices with no right answer. It was trying to determine if we were worthy of the knowledge. Dr. Hyun Park added, the Curator told us why the architects built such a place. They knew their created species would eventually find it. They wanted to see if any of them could overcome their genetic limitations. None ever had. Until us, Dai said. We passed because we're not limited like they are. Our brains work differently. We can think in ways they literally cannot. A council member raised her hand. If we're so special, why did the architects ignore Earth? They didn't ignore us, Hyun said. They never found us. Earth is in a quiet part of the galaxy. By the time they might have discovered us, they were already gone. Gone where? Someone asked. Dai's expression darkened. Beyond the galaxy. Watching. Waiting. The Curator said they'll return if any species becomes too powerful. They'll reset the galaxy, eliminate threats, and start over. They've done it before. The room went silent. Finally, someone spoke. So we're all living in a cage. And if we escape, we die. Maybe, Dai said. Or maybe we become strong enough to face them. That's why we came back. That's why we're sharing this technology. Humanity alone isn't enough. But all of us together, we might have a chance. Ambassador Nari Cho stood. The Coalition is going to oppose this. They've built their entire power structure on controlling technology. If we share what we know, they lose everything. Then we make them an offer, Dai said. Join us or get out of the way. We're not asking permission anymore. In his ship high above Earth, Velthon made a decision. He opened a secure channel to his most trusted operatives, men and women who had served the Krell for decades. Soldiers, spies, and assassins. The humans have something that belongs to the galaxy, Velthon said. They're too primitive to understand what they've found. We will take it from them. For the good of all species, the plan was simple. Infiltrate Earth, steal or destroy the architect technology, eliminate the resilience crew if necessary, keep the galaxy safe from human chaos, keep the Krell in power. Operatives began moving within hours. They used fake identities and hidden ships. Some posed as merchants, others as diplomats. All of them had the same mission. Security officer Ji Wuhan noticed them first. She had spent 12 years in the architect facility learning to spot threats. Her enhanced senses, gifts from the technology they'd mastered, picked up the wrong patterns, wrong heartbeats. Wrong body language, she reported to Commander Huang. We have hostiles on Earth, Krell operatives, at least 20. Probably more. What are they after? Dee asked. My guess? The Resilience or us, maybe both. Day contacted Admiral Taemin Song. We need security around our crew members and their families. The coalition is making a move. Taemin immediately deployed Earth's best protection details, but he was working with old technology and old training. The Krell operatives were better equipped and more experienced. 3 days later, they struck. A team of 5 Krell agents attacked Ambassador Nari's residence. They came at night with weapons designed to kill silently. Nari should have died in her sleep, but Jiwoo Han was there. She had assigned herself to protect Nari personally. When the first operative came through the window, Jiwoo was waiting. The fight was brutal and fast. The Krell were good, but Jiwoo had trained in the architect facility. She moved like water, like lightning. Her body was enhanced with technology that made her faster and stronger. 2 Krell died in the first 10 seconds. The others retreated, but not before one got a shot off. Nari took the blast in her shoulder. She went down hard, bleeding but alive. Jiwoo killed the shooter and captured another one wounded. The rest escaped. Medical teams arrived within minutes. Nari survived but barely. The captured Krell operative refused to talk at first. Then Hyun Park entered the interrogation room with a small device from the architect technology. This reads neural patterns, Hyun explained quietly. It can't make you talk, but it can tell us when you're lying or hiding something. Every question we ask, we'll know if you're being truthful. The operative's face went pale. Under that kind of examination, he broke. He told them everything. Velthon's plan, the hidden weapon near Earth's sun, the timeline for destruction. When Day heard the full report, he felt cold anger settle over him. They're willing to destroy an entire solar system to stop us? They're afraid, Yuna said. Fear makes people do terrible things. Day called an emergency meeting with Earth's leadership. He laid out what they'd learned. The weapon, the time limit, the choice facing humanity. We have 48 hours before they activate the device, Day said. If we don't surrender the technology, they'll collapse Earth's sun. The entire system will be destroyed. The room erupted in panic. Some leaders demanded immediate surrender. Others called for evacuation. A few wanted to fight. Admiral Taemin Song stood. How many people can we evacuate in 48 hours? Maybe 1 billion, one of the logistics officers said. If we use every ship we have. If the allied species help us, 8 billion will die. The room went quiet. 8 billion dead. The weight of that number crushed hope like a physical force. Dai looked at his crew. Yuna, Hyun, Jiwoo, the others from the Resilience. They'd been through so much together. They'd faced death 1,000 times. And now they had to do it again. There's another option, Day said slowly. We go to the weapon. We disable it. That's suicide, someone said. It'll be heavily guarded. Probably, Day agreed. But it's the only choice that saves everyone. I won't let billions die because we're afraid, Yuna nodded. I can disable it. If we can get close enough, I can figure out how it works and shut it down. I'll need to go too, Hyun said. The technology will be complex. 2 heads are better than 1. Jiwoo smiled grimly. You'll need someone to handle the guards. I'm in. One by one, volunteers from the Resilience crew stepped forward. 12 in total. Everyone who had survived the architect facility. Everyone who had come home changed. What about the evacuation? Nari asked from her hospital bed, watching through video link. Continue it, Day ordered. If we fail, at least some people will survive. Admiral Song, coordinate with any species willing to help. Get as many people off Earth as possible. Taemin saluted. It will be done. Nari's voice was weak but determined. Day, if you don't make it back, then you'll lead humanity forward, Day interrupted. You'll share the knowledge. You'll make sure this wasn't for nothing. I will, Nari promised. But you better come back anyway, Day smiled. We'll try our best. The Resilience crew prepared for the mission. They checked their equipment, said goodbye to families, made peace with the possibility of death. They'd all faced it before in the architect facility. This time felt different somehow. More final. As the Resilience powered up its strange engines, Earth watched. News broadcasts showed the ship beginning to glow with that otherworldly light. People in the streets looked up at the stars, knowing that in 48 hours their sun might explode. Inside the ship, Day sat in the captain's chair. Around him, his crew worked at stations that looked like art and science had merged. The technology responded to thought as much as touch. It was alive in ways normal computers weren't. Part 4, the memorial service for Yuna Kang, lasted 3 days. People from every continent on Earth attended. They brought flowers, candles, and pictures. They told stories about the woman who saved them all. Children who would never meet her drew pictures of her ship. Adults who owed her their lives cried openly in the streets. Commander De Huang stood at the main ceremony in Seoul. Behind him, a hologram showed Yuna's face, smiling the way she used to before everything changed. He tried to speak several times. Each time his voice failed him. Finally, he managed. Yuna believed in humanity. Not just humans, but all of humanity. She saw what we could become if we stopped being afraid. She died to give us that chance. The best way to honor her is to become the people she believed we could be. Ambassador Nari Cho watched from her hospital bed. Her shoulder still hurt from the Krell attack, but she was recovering. She'd been receiving messages from across the galaxy. 5 coalition species had formally withdrawn from the Alliance. They wanted to talk to Earth about partnerships, about sharing knowledge, about building something new. "It's happening," Nari said to Admiral Taemin Song, who stood at her bedside. "The coalition is falling apart." "Not everyone is happy about it," Taemin replied. He pulled up a data pad showing news from coalition space, riots on Krell worlds, protests on Vex stations. Some species celebrated their new freedom. Others demanded order be restored. This could turn into a civil war. Or it could turn into something better, Nari said. Depends on what we do next. Day returned to the Resilience after the memorial. His crew was there, all except Yuna. Her station sat empty, a reminder of what they'd lost. Dr. Hyun Park had taken over her duties, but everyone knew no one could really replace her. "We have a decision to make," Day told his senior officers. "We promised to share the architect technology. Now we have to figure out how. We can't just give it to everyone," Ji Woo-han argued. "Some species will use it for war. Look at what the Krell already tried to do. So we become the gatekeepers?" Hyun asked. "Decide who deserves knowledge and who doesn't? That makes us the new coalition. There has to be a middle path," Day said. "We share the information, but we create safeguards. Make it open but tracked. Anyone can access it, but everyone knows who's using it and for what." They debated for hours. Finally, they agreed on a plan. Earth would create an open database of architect technology. Any species could access it for free. But every download would be logged. Every use would be documented. Transparency instead of control. The announcement went out across the galaxy. Within hours, thousands of scientists from dozens of species applied for access. Some wanted to study the medical applications. Others focused on energy production or space travel. A few looked at weapons, but they were a minority. The database went live. Hyun led the team that managed it. She worked 20-hour days, answering questions, explaining concepts, helping species understand technology that seemed like magic. She was exhausted but happy. This was what Yuna would have wanted. Not everyone was pleased. On the remaining coalition worlds, leaders watched with growing anger. They'd built their power on controlling information. Now humans were giving it away for free. Their centuries of dominance were evaporating in days. A coalition of hardline species formed. They called themselves the Preservation Alliance. Their message was simple. The old ways were better. Humans were dangerous. The galaxy needed order, not chaos. Nari read their declaration with a sinking feeling. "They're going to fight us." "Let them try," Taemin said. But he was already running scenarios. The Preservation Alliance had 200 warships. Old technology, but lots of it. Earth's defense fleet was tiny in comparison, even with the Resilience. "We need allies," Nari said. "Real ones. Species that will stand with us if things go bad." She reached out to the species that had left the coalition. The Vex, a species of energy beings. The Thorians, massive creatures that lived in gas giants. The Shen, small but incredibly smart. 2 others whose names humans still struggled to pronounce. They met in neutral space on a station that orbited a dead world. Nari represented Earth. 5 other ambassadors represented their species. They talked for 3 days. "We all want the same thing," Nari said. "Freedom to grow. Freedom to learn. Freedom to become more than the architects designed us to be." The Vex ambassador pulsed with agreement. "The Krell kept us weak. They told us it was for peace, but it was for their power. So we form a new alliance," the Thorian delegate rumbled. "Built on cooperation, not control." They signed the agreement right there. The Foundation Alliance. 6 species committed to mutual defense and shared knowledge. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Word of the new alliance spread quickly. 3 more species joined within a week. Then 5 more. The Foundation grew faster than anyone expected. Species that had been isolated for centuries suddenly had partners. Scientists who had worked alone now collaborated across star systems. The Preservation Alliance watched and grew more desperate. They couldn't compete with free knowledge. They couldn't offer anything humans weren't already giving away. Their only option was force. The attack came without warning. 20 Preservation Alliance warships jumped into Earth's system and opened fire on civilian stations. Thousands died in the first minutes. The message was clear. Join us or watch your people burn. Earth's defense fleet scrambled. The Resilience launched immediately. Admiral Taemin Song coordinated the response from his flagship, but he knew they were outnumbered. 20 enemy ships against his small fleet. Even with architect technology, the numbers were bad. Then Foundation Alliance ships arrived. Vex energy vessels, Thorian bioships, Shen fighter swarms, 12 ships from 6 different species, all coming to Earth's defense. The battle that followed lit up the sky. The Preservation Alliance had numbers, but the Foundation had better technology and better coordination. They fought like they'd been training together for years, not days. Day commanded the Resilience with cold precision. He'd learned to fight in the Architect facility against enemies far worse than these. His ship danced through the battlefield, weapons finding weak points, shields absorbing attacks that should have been fatal. Jiwoo led boarding parties onto disabled enemy vessels. They captured crews instead of killing them when possible. These are frightened people following bad leaders, she reminded her teams. Give them a chance to surrender. The battle lasted 40 minutes. When it ended, 15 Preservation Alliance ships were disabled. 3 were destroyed. 2 escaped. Not a single Foundation ship was lost. In the aftermath, Day broadcast on all frequencies. This attack failed. The next one will fail too. We don't want war, but we won't back down. Join us and build something better. Or keep fighting and lose everything. On the Preservation Alliance homeworlds, leaders watched their defeat with shock. They'd been sure the old technology would be enough. They'd been wrong. Some species started to waver. Maybe the humans were right. Maybe holding on to the old ways was pointless. Maybe it was time to change, but others dug in. They'd rather die than admit humans were superior. They'd rather burn the galaxy than let Earth lead. In a secret facility on a Krell colony world, scientists worked on a new weapon. Not dimensional collapse this time. Something worse. Something that targeted biology instead of physics. A plague designed to kill humans specifically. They called it the final solution. If they couldn't beat humanity in battle, they'd eliminate humanity entirely. Remove the problem at its source. The lead scientist, a Krell named Tok, felt no guilt. He saw himself as a savior. Humans were a disease. He was the cure. Meanwhile, on Earth, people celebrated their victory. They thought the worst was over. They thought they'd proven their strength. They didn't know the real threat was just beginning. Nari stood in her new office. She'd been elected leader of the Foundation Alliance, the first human to hold such a position. It should have been a moment of triumph. Instead, she felt uneasy. Something's wrong, she told Taemin. The Preservation Alliance gave up too easily. Maybe they finally learned their lesson, Taemin suggested. Or maybe they're planning something we can't see yet. Nari pulled up reports from Foundation intelligence. Our agents report unusual activity on several Krell worlds. Increased security. Restricted research facilities. Scientists being pulled into classified projects. Could be anything, Taemin said. Or it could be everything, Nari replied. I want surveillance on those facilities. I want to know what they're doing. Day received the same intelligence reports on the Resilience. He called his senior staff together. The war isn't over. They're just changing tactics. We beat them in open combat, Jiwoo said. What else can they try? That's what worries me, Day said. If you can't win fairly, you cheat. And the Krell have been cheating for 3,000 years. They're good at it. Dr. Hyun Park ran simulations on what the Krell might be developing. Chemical weapons, biological agents, nanotech swarms. None of the scenarios were good. We need to find out what they're doing, Hyun said, before they're ready to use it. That means infiltration, Jiwoo said. Deep cover, dangerous. I'll go, Day said immediately. Absolutely not, Jiwoo replied. You're too recognizable. Part 3, the Resilience moved through space like a ghost. Normal sensors couldn't detect it. Normal eyes couldn't see it. The ship existed half in reality and half in another dimension. sliding through the universe like water through cracks in stone. Commander De Huang stood on the bridge, watching the sun grow larger on the displays. Somewhere near that massive ball of fire, the Krell had hidden their weapon, a device that would make the sun explode and kill everything in the system. Any sign of the platform? Day asked. Dr. Hyun Park studied the readings. Nothing yet. They're hiding it well, but I'm detecting quantum disturbances near the corona. Small ones. That's where they'll be. Chief Engineer Yuna Kang worked at her station, fingers dancing across controls that responded to thought as much as touch. I've got something. It's phase shifted, like us. They're using advanced cloaking technology. Can you pinpoint it? Day asked. Give me a minute. Yuna's eyes closed as she interfaced directly with the ship's systems. The architect technology let her see things normal sensors missed. She felt the fabric of space, the tiny wrinkles where something didn't belong. There. Coordinates locked. On the main display, a location appeared. Close to the sun, hidden in the burning corona where normal ships couldn't go. Smart positioning. Deadly for anyone trying to reach it. How are we on time? Day asked. 36 hours, Security Officer Ji Wuhan said. Cutting it close. We'll make it, Day said, though he wasn't sure he believed it. Everyone, check your equipment. We go in fast and we go in hard. The strike team gathered in the deployment bay. 12 crew members, all veterans of the architect facility. They wore armor that shimmered with the same strange energy as the ship. They carried weapons that could tear through normal matter like paper. Jiwoo briefed them one last time. The platform will be heavily defended. Krell warriors may be others. They'll have the best equipment the Coalition can provide, but they won't have what we have. Stay sharp, watch each other's backs, and remember your training. What about civilians? One of the team members asked. Krell scientists, engineers? We disable, not kill unless we have no choice, Day said firmly. We're not murderers. We're here to stop a genocide, not commit one. The Resilience approached the weapon platform. Up close it was massive. A city-sized station hidden in quantum shadows. Defensive turrets covered its surface. Energy shields flickered in patterns only special sensors could detect. They know we're coming, Hyun said. They've detected us somehow. Doesn't matter, Day said. We're committed now. Take us in, full phase shift. Right to their doorstep. The ship lurched in a way that made normal physics cry. Space folded. Distance became meaningless. One moment they were 1,000 kilometers away. The next they were touching the platform's hull. Go! Day shouted. The strike team activated their personal dimensional transponders. Reality bent around them. They phased through the hull like it wasn't there, appearing directly inside the station. Alarms screamed immediately. The Krell had been waiting. Warriors in powered armor filled the corridors. They opened fire the instant the humans appeared. Jiwoo moved first. She was a blur of motion, her enhanced body moving faster than normal eyes could track. Her weapon fired beams of coherent energy that punched through armor like tissue. 2 Krell fell before they could react. The rest of the team spread out. They'd practiced this 1,000 times in the architect facility. Each person knew their role: cover, advance, suppress. They moved like water, flowing around obstacles, overwhelming resistance. But the Krell were good too. They'd trained for centuries. They had numbers on their side. For every warrior the humans dropped, 2 more appeared. We need to reach the core, Yuna shouted over the sound of weapons fire. That's where the device controls will be. Day checked his tactical display. The core was deep inside the station, through dozens of defended corridors. They'd lose people trying to fight through. Maybe all of them. Hyun, can you get us there faster? Day asked, Hyun's eyes unfocused as she calculated.
Maybe. If I can generate a localized phase bubble, we could slip through the station's structure.
But it's dangerous. We might end up inside a wall or worse. Do it, Day ordered. We don't have time for a firefight. Hyun pulled out a small device. It hummed with power, distorting the air around it. Everyone close together. Touch range. This is going to feel weird. The team clustered tight. Hyun activated the device. Reality screamed. The world became liquid. Solid matter turned transparent. They fell through the floor, through rooms, through machinery. Krell warriors fired at ghosts as the humans phased past them. They emerged in a massive chamber near the station's heart. The weapon core sat in the center, a sphere of twisted space and exotic matter. It pulsed with dark energy, counting down to detonation. 28 hours, Yuna said, reading the controls. They accelerated the countdown. They know we're here. Can you stop it? Day asked. Yuna and Hyun approached the device. Their hands moved over controls that were part technology, part art. The weapon was beautiful in a terrible way. Elegant, deadly, built with skill and knowledge that took centuries to accumulate. This is complex, Hyun said. It's not just a bomb. It's a dimensional cascade device. When it triggers, it'll create a chain reaction in the sun's core. The explosion won't just destroy the system. It'll tear a hole in space-time. Can you disable it? Day pressed. I don't know, Yuna admitted. Give me time. I need to understand how it works first. Time they didn't have. The doors to the chamber exploded inward. Velthon strode through, surrounded by 50 Krell elite warriors. He wore a powered exosuit that made him 3 meters tall. Weapons bristled from every surface. You're too late, Commander Huang, Velthon said. His voice boomed through speakers. The weapon cannot be stopped. Not by you. Not by anyone. Day stepped forward to face the Krell leader. Why are you doing this? We're offering to share the knowledge. Everyone could benefit. You don't understand, Velthon said. The Krell have maintained order in this galaxy for 3,000 years. We've kept the peace, prevented wars, and we've done it by controlling technology. If you give everyone access to architect knowledge, chaos will follow. Species will destroy each other. You mean you'll lose your power, Day said. That's what you're really afraid of. Velthon's exosuit hummed with building energy. I'm willing to sacrifice one species to save the galaxy. That's leadership. That's what the Krell have always done. That's tyranny, Day said quietly. And it ends today. The battle exploded across the chamber. Velthon moved with surprising speed for something so large. His weapons fired continuously. The Krell warriors spread out, trying to surround the human team. Jiwoo led the defense. She'd studied Krell fighting styles in the architect facility. She knew their patterns, their weaknesses. She moved through them like a dancer, her weapon finding gaps in their armor, her enhanced reflexes letting her dodge attacks that should have killed her. Day faced Velthon directly. The Krell leader was powerful, his exosuit giving him strength and protection that seemed unstoppable. His fists could crush steel. His weapons could vaporize matter. But Day had learned things in the architect facility that Velthon couldn't imagine. He'd learned to bend space, to predict probability, to strike from angles that didn't exist in normal geometry. He dodged a massive punch and countered with a burst of energy that found a weakness in the exosuit's shields. Velthon roared in pain and rage. You're fighting the inevitable, Velthon shouted. The architects will return. They'll destroy you. Maybe, Day said, dodging another attack. But we'll face them as free people, not as your slaves. Behind them, Yuna and Hyun worked frantically on the weapon. They'd figured out the basics. The device was already cascading, building toward detonation. The quantum reactions had started. They couldn't just turn it off. We have to redirect it, Yuna shouted. Channel the energy somewhere else. Where? Hyun demanded. It's enough power to destroy a solar system. Into a parallel dimension, Yuna said. Create a pocket universe and dump all the energy there. It'll collapse harmlessly. That's insane, Hyun said. The calculations alone would take days. We don't have days. Yuna pulled up holographic displays, her fingers flying. Help me or we all die. Hyun joined her. Together, they worked at a pace that would have been impossible before the architect facility. Their enhanced minds processed numbers that would break normal computers. They saw patterns in the chaos. Paths through the impossible. I've got it, Hyun said. We can do this. But someone has to stay behind to finalize the redirection. The system needs constant adjustment until the last second. Yuna nodded. I know, I'm the engineer. It's my job. Yuna, no, Hyun said. There has to be another way. There isn't. Yuna's hands never stopped moving on the controls. Get everyone else out. Make sure this counts. Day heard the exchange. He was still fighting Velthon, but his heart seized in his chest. Yuna, that's an order. Find another way. Sorry, Commander, Yuna said softly, but you're not in charge of physics. This is the only solution. She locked the other team members out of the core chamber. Emergency bulkheads slammed down, sealing her inside with the weapon. With Velthon and his warriors, everyone out, Day shouted. Back to the ship now. Jiwoo grabbed him. Part 5. The Resilience cut through space at speeds that broke normal physics. Behind it, a small fleet of Foundation Alliance ships struggled to keep up. They were heading to the Krell colony world of Tal Kresh, where the biological weapon waited in a research facility. Commander Dai Huang knew they had one shot at this. If the Krell released the plague before they arrived, humanity would die. All 9 billion people on Earth, all the colonies. Everyone with human DNA would be dead within weeks. How long until we reach Talcresh? Dai asked. 6 hours, the navigator replied. The Krell know we're coming. They're scrambling their defense fleet. How many ships? 50, maybe more. Jiwoo Han checked her weapons. We're bringing 12 ships against 50. I've faced worse odds, but not by much. Dr. Hyun Park worked at her station, analyzing everything they knew about the facility. The plague is stored in a level 5 containment vault, triple sealed, temperature controlled. If we just blow it up, we might release it into the atmosphere. So we can't destroy it, Dai said. We have to neutralize it safely. That means getting inside the facility, Hyun said. Past their security, past their defenders, and doing it before they realize what we're after. Impossible, someone muttered. We specialize in impossible, Dai replied. The plan formed quickly. The Foundation fleet would engage the Krell Defense Force, keep them busy. The Resilience would slip through the chaos and land near the research facility. A strike team would infiltrate, neutralize the plague, and escape before the Krell could stop them. It was simple. Probably too simple, but they were out of time for complex. The fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Talcresh. Immediately, Krell warships opened fire. Energy beams and missiles filled space. The Foundation ships scattered, returning fire, drawing the Krell away from the planet. The Resilience went invisible, not just to sensors but to reality itself. It phased into dimensions the Krell couldn't detect. While their fleet fought in normal space, the human ships slipped past them like smoke through a net. Dai took a landing party of 8. Jiwoo led security. Hyun handled the technical work. The others were veterans of the architect facility, the best humanity had. They landed in a forest 5 kilometers from the research facility. The Resilient stayed phased, hidden, waiting for their return. The team moved through the trees on foot, using architect technology to mask their presence. The facility appeared through the vegetation. It was large, maybe a kilometer across. Guard towers, energy fences, patrols of Krell soldiers in heavy armor. They were expecting trouble. How do we get in? One team member asked. Hyun pulled out a device. We don't go through their security. We go around it. Phase shift takes us directly into the containment area. Like what we did on the weapon platform? Jiwoo asked. Similar, but riskier. The facility might have phase detection equipment. If they spot us materializing, we're trapped inside their most secure area. Do it anyway, Dai ordered. We don't have time for subtle. The team gathered close. Hyun activated the phase generator. Reality twisted. They fell through solid matter, through walls and floors and security systems. For a moment, they existed everywhere and nowhere. They materialized in a white room. Sterile, cold. In the center, a transparent container held thousands of vials, each one glowing faintly, each one filled with death. That's it, Hyun whispered. That's the plague. Alarms started screaming. Red lights flashed. The phase detection equipment had spotted them after all. We've got maybe 2 minutes before this room fills with guards, Jiwoo said. Hyun, do your thing. Hyun approached the container carefully. Her hands moved over controls, analyzing the containment system. This is sophisticated. They've designed it to resist tampering. If I trigger the wrong safeguard, it releases the plague automatically. Can you disable it? Dai asked. I think so, but I need time. Take what you need. We'll buy it. The doors exploded inward. Krell soldiers poured through, weapons firing. Jiwoo's team met them head-on. Energy blasts and bullets filled the air. The humans were outnumbered but better equipped. Their architect-enhanced reflexes let them dodge attacks that should have killed them. Dai fought at the front. He moved through the Krell like wind, his weapon finding gaps in their armor. But more kept coming. They had infinite reinforcements. The humans had 8 people. Hyun, how much longer? Dai shouted. I'm almost through the first layer. Hyun's hands were steady despite the chaos around her. There are 3 more after this. A Krell grenade landed near her. Jiwoo dove, grabbed it, threw it back. It exploded among the enemy soldiers. 3 went down. 6 more replaced them. One of the human team members took a hit. Then another. They were wearing it down, but so was the enemy. It became a race. Could Hyun neutralize the plague before they were all killed? The scientist Tak appeared at the back of the Krell forces. He held a remote control. Stop or I release the plague right now. Everyone in this room dies. Day raised his weapon. Do it and you die too. I'm willing to sacrifice myself, Tak said. Are you willing to sacrifice your species? Day lowered his weapon. What do you want? Leave, take your people and go. Let us keep the weapon, so you can use it later. Kill billions of innocent people. Day shook his head. No deal. Then we all die here, Tak said. His finger moved toward the activation button. A single shot rang out. Tak's head snapped back. The remote control fell from his dead hand. Behind him, a Krell soldier lowered her weapon. My name is Rin, she said. I don't want to be part of genocide. Some of us don't. The other Krell soldiers looked confused. Some lowered their weapons. Others kept them raised, uncertain. The architects designed you to follow orders, Day said, speaking to all of them. They made you that way on purpose. So you'd be easy to control. But you can fight that programming. You can choose to be better. Rin stepped forward. He's right. I've studied the evidence the humans released. We were created to be slaves. Obedient slaves. But we don't have to stay that way. More Krell lowered their weapons. Not all, but enough. I've got it, Hyun announced. The containment is open. I'm neutralizing the plague now. She worked quickly, adding chemicals to the vials that would destroy the engineered viruses. One by one, the containers stopped glowing. The plague died, rendered harmless. It's done, Hyun said. The threat is over. Outside, the battle in space was turning. The Foundation fleet was winning, but barely. They'd lost 4 ships. The Krell fleet was down to 30 vessels. Then something changed. 10 Krell ships stopped fighting. They broadcast on all frequencies. We're standing down. We won't fight for the old order anymore. The remaining Krell ships broke formation. Some continued fighting. Others retreated. The unity of the Preservation Alliance shattered in real time. Day's team extracted from the facility. They took Rin and 24 other Krell who'd surrendered. Back on the Resilience, they escaped Tal Kresh and rejoined the fleet. The battle ended. The Preservation Alliance fleet scattered. Some ships limped home. Others surrendered. A few disappeared into deep space. On Earth, people watched the news with relief and amazement. The plague was destroyed. The threat was over. Humanity was safe again. But more than that, something fundamental had changed. For the first time, species created by the architects had rebelled against their programming. Rin and her followers proved it was possible. Within days, more Krell renounced the Preservation Alliance, then Vex, then members of other species. They didn't all join the Foundation Alliance, but they stopped fighting it. They stopped trying to maintain the old order. The galaxy entered a period of rapid transformation. Species that had been stagnant for millennia suddenly exploded with creativity. Scientists made breakthroughs that would have taken centuries before. Artists created works that defied description. Philosophers developed ideas that challenged everything. Nari Cho watched it all from her office on Earth. She'd been elected president of the Foundation Alliance by unanimous vote. 47 species now belong to the Alliance. More applied every week. We did it, Taemin said, visiting her one afternoon. We changed everything. Yuna changed everything, Nari corrected. She's the one who sacrificed everything. We're just living in the world she made possible. Earth established the Yuna Kang Institute for Advanced Research. Scientists and engineers from dozens of species came to study there. They learned about architect technology and developed new innovations. Human and alien minds working together achieved things neither could do alone. Ji Wuhan became the head of Foundation Alliance Security. She trained soldiers from every member species in architect combat techniques, not to start wars but to prevent them. Peace through strength, she told her students. But strength tempered with wisdom. Dr. Hyun Park led the research division. She coordinated projects across hundreds of worlds, medical advances, energy solutions, faster-than-light improvements. Every day brought new discoveries. Dae Huang, promoted to admiral, took the Resilience on a new mission. He led a fleet into uncharted space, exploring regions the Coalition had marked as forbidden. They found 3 new civilizations. 2 were primitive, just discovering fire. 1 was advanced but isolated, afraid to join the galactic community. The architects told you to be afraid, Dae told them. But there's a new galaxy now.